Hello again, I'm Rodney Reynolds and welcome to another video review. Today I'm looking at the Cooler Master Elite 310 case as well as the Gladiator 600 case. If you notice, there's a blue trim on the front bezel. Now you can get this trim in different colors. There are 4 5¼ inch drive bays. There's one 3½ inch drive bay. Here's the power button, reset button, hard drive activity LED, and power LED. And at the bottom are 2 USB 2 ports as well as a microphone and headphone jack, and note the ventilation here at the bottom. The front bezel can be very easily removed by pulling at the bottom, and one optional 120mm intake fan can be installed. On the left side panel there's a nice stylish clear window, and there's also a place to install an optional 80, 90 or 120mm intake fan. At the back of the case, at the very top, is where a standard ATX power supply would get installed. Here's where the motherboard's IO shield plate would get installed. They include a 120mm exhaust fan, but this can be removed and replaced with an 80 or 90mm fan if preferred. At the bottom are the 7 expansion slots, some extra ventilation, and there are 2 thumb screws on each side panel. Note that the left side panel can be secured using an optional lock. Since this is a mid-tower case, there isn't a lot of room to work on the inside, and unfortunately the motherboard tray is not removable. This case does fit Micro ATX and standard ATX form factor motherboards. Up to 6 hard drives can be installed. Notice how there isn't any cable management holes. Now you can tuck some behind the hard drive cage right here, but that's not what you really call good cable management. Now also notice that there isn't a hole on the motherboard tray for the cooler's retention plate. This case does fit full-length video cards. At the bottom there are 4 plastic feet. Finally, have a listen to the stock cooling of the Cooler Master Elite 310 case. The Gladiator 600 case is mostly steel except for a plastic front bezel. At the top there's a 140mm exhaust fan, but if preferred this can be removed and you can install a 120mm optional fan. At the front there are 5 5¼ inch drive bays. Here's the power button, reset button, a switch for turning the blue LEDs on the fan on or off, LEDs here as well for hard drive activity and power. There are 2 USB 2 ports, an external serial ATA port, as well as a microphone and headphone jack. The front bezel can be very easily removed by pulling at the bottom, and note that each one of the 5¼ inch drive bays has a dust filter. There's also a dust filter at the bottom. They include a blue LED 120mm intake fan, but if preferred you can remove this fan and install a 140mm optional fan. On the left side panel, 2 optional fans can be installed. You can either install 120mm fans or 140mm fans. At the back of the case is where the motherboard's IO shield plate gets installed. You can install an optional 80, 90 or 120mm exhaust fan. Here are the 7 expansion slots, extra ventilation, and at the bottom is where a standard ATX power supply gets installed, and they also include 2 thumb screws on each side panel. Since this is a mid-tower case, there isn't a lot of room to work on the inside, and unfortunately the motherboard tray is not removable. And note that this case fits Micro ATX and standard ATX form factor motherboards. They have a toolless design for installing drives in the 5¼ inch drive bays and cards in the expansion slots. Installing hard drives is also a toolless operation. You just use 2 of these plastic drive rails, 1 on each side of the hard drive, and then slip the hard drive into the hard drive cage. This case does have 1 cable management hole right here, and it also comes with a very handy hole here, which is behind the motherboard tray, so you can remove the cooler's retention plate. This case fits full-length video cards. At the bottom are 4 plastic feet. There's also lots of ventilation for the power supply, and they do include a dust filter. And finally, have a listen to the stock cooling of the Cooler Master Gladiator 600 case. Both of these cases really fall into the budget category, but that doesn't mean they're not good cases. If you're looking for a budget case, that's important. You don't want to spend a lot of money. You want it to be affordable, but still a decent case. Of the two, though, I would go with the Gladiator 600. It has more features, the tool is designed. You can install also better, bigger fans in that case, and that's important for air circulation. But overall, both of these products are great. Until next time, take care.